I guess all of us are obsessed with getting 7 hours of sleep or 8 hours of sleep. And we often believe that if we slept for 7 to 8 hours, it must have been a very good night. But deep down, we know that it's not always true. So let's start from here. What, according to you, defines a good sleep? Is it just the number of hours, or are there any deeper markers we should be paying attention to?
Sure, that is an excellent question because sleep, as you said, is often poorly understood. It's hard to understand sleep when you're asleep while it happens. And so you don't know. For 1/3 of our lives, for 8 hours or so every day, you are completely vulnerable. You don't hear what's going on typically. You don't respond to what's going on. So it was either a huge mistake that evolution made, or it's so important that we are willing to be vulnerable for 1/3 of our lives to do this. Yes. And what does this mean? So you're right. There is a component of it that is the hours that you sleep. And yes, the recommendations are somewhere between 6 to 8 hours. 7 hours is fine for most adults. We do know that younger people need more sleep. Yeah. Older people need less sleep. However, there is more than just the hours. There is the regularity of your sleep. The schedule matters so much. It is actually more important that you go to sleep at the same time every night and wake up at the same time every morning than have a variable sleep schedule, even if you're getting enough hours every night. Think of like shift workers who work different shifts, maybe at night for a week or two, and then they shift to a morning or an afternoon shift.
I've done that too.
Yeah, me too. So as a doctor in the intensive care unit, I would do nights for 12 hours, then I would switch the next week to days. And it doesn't matter if you're sleeping for 8 or 9 hours after that kind of chaos in your schedule.
Exactly.
The sleep is not good. So the most important thing is the regularity, that sleep schedule. Making sure that you prioritize sleep. Where you go to sleep is where you sleep, not where you scroll on your phone incessantly or where you are, lying awake, thinking about anxiety or money problems, but it's your sanctuary. It's where, yes, this is important. I'm going to set aside the time every day, the same time, so that I can get the restful sleep that my brain and my body needs. If we don't, we are setting ourselves up for multiple problems in our lives. Sometimes those problems happen immediately. One poor night of sleep, and your risk of a road traffic accident or a workplace accident goes up significantly. It's almost as if you are driving under the influence of alcohol if you have a poor night's sleep. Your cognitive function goes down. So work, school, all suffers if you don't sleep well.
So that means a good sleep is defined by QQRT: quality, quantity, regularity, and timings.
Absolutely. Those few minutes that you spend ensuring that your sleep is good and making sure that you spend time on your wellness is time that you don't need to spend later in life on your illness.
Young people, Gen Z, I'm sure they must also be following the same phenomena. Do you think that helps? Or how much damage can actually be prevented?
Yeah. So you can recover from sleep debt, but it takes many days and a very concerted effort, and it takes that good sleep schedule. What typically happens with young people like us, we're still young, right?
I'm just talking about younger.
Yeah, we may not be teenagers, but we're still young, right? What typically happens is, you sleep poorly during the week because you're up, you're on your social media, you have to get up early to go to school or to a job, and then you're out late on the weekends. It's Friday night, it's Saturday night, you meet your friends for, dinner and so you try to make up the sleep debt, but you're going to bed late on the weekends and then just sleeping longer during the day. Yeah. So you may recover a little bit, but it's not very good sleep because you've not established a schedule. You've got late nights, early mornings, early nights, late, and that lack of a consistent schedule is what does the damage. So when we sleep, our brain recovers from the day, right? The brain is the most complex structure that we've ever discussed. Nothing in the universe more complex than the human brain. We haven't seen it yet with telescopes and satellites and everything. And it needs time to rest and recover. And the brain uses a lot of energy all day long. And it, like a factory, it creates waste. And the waste builds up during the day. And when you sleep at night, there is a separate circulation system. It's called the glymphatic system that helps flush the toxins from all parts of the body, but especially the brain.
So that drainage happens through the night.
Yes. And it's important because some of those toxins are linked to things like dementia and Alzheimer's.
Oh, wow.
So what we are seeing is increasing evidence that poor sleep here and there every few nights, even if you try to recover, if that's your pattern for many years or for your life, the risk for dementia later in life goes up. And that scares me a lot because not even young people, our culture in general, we sometimes wear poor sleep like a badge of honor. I only need 3 hours. I only need 4 hours and I'm fine.
We glamorize sleeping less.
Yes, we think it's the sign of you're tough, right? Or you're a good business person doesn't need to sleep. You're up all night doing emails and in the morning you're taking Zoom calls. And what you're doing is little by little, you're damaging your brain. Without good sleep, the cells in our brain that make connections don't make those connections as well as they do. That's how we learn and consolidate memories. That happens during sleep, not while we're awake. The brain is ingesting all of these data points and it needs time to sort through everything. It needs time to clean out all of the debris from the day of all that processing that it's doing. And so it's not just teenagers or young people. It's all of us who don't prioritize our sleep, who are setting ourselves up for the permanent damage that can happen later in life.
With chronic sleep
deprivation.
Okay. To watch the entire episode, you can head to our main channel, Gunjan Shouts, link of which is in the description below.